Tell me the story of how you got involved with Image.
Oh, it's so boring. It's so boring. And I have nothing to do with anything. Every year, at that time, every year around Christmas, for a month I would go home to the Philippines. Okay, that was my roots period. I was raised here in the States, so I didn't know the language, didn't know anything about the culture or anything, but here I have the means now because of comics, and so I'm gonna go every year. Plus there was, you know, someone special that I met, so, you know, that's the real reason anybody travels far.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I started going back to the Philippines, and so right before I left that year, Jim calls me up and he goes, "Hey, Whilce, we're gonna do something. There's gonna be something real big. There's a couple, you know, big people to do it, and it's gonna be pretty cool." I go, "What is it?" "Oh, I can't tell you it, but when you come back, I'll tell you." I go, "Okay, I'm going on vacation. I don't have to think about this. Okay, there's nothing to think about anyways." I go off for a month. Then I come back, Jim calls me up and goes, "Hey, we did it." "What?" And then he tells me, and then I go, that sounds kind of interesting. I'm young and dumb, and you know, I've had, I mean, we've already done the Xbox.
Yeah.
So we were already
Just
at that point,
top of the food chain.
You know, and again, I keep saying we were, you know, young and dumb, so that if it fails, who cares?
You can always go back to being a top creator, and they're going to hire you back.
Yeah. And at the time, you know, animation was really starting up, special effects, concept design and stuff. So even if Marvel or DC didn't want us, you know, I was so young that, and I wasn't attached in any way, so I could move. So I go, okay, it might be exciting, and I said, okay, go on board. And then I met everybody. So I actually met everybody then, and I guess I was like the last partner that they all just wanted to bring in, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so the seven of you met in, where did you guys meet for the first time?
I think it was, again, it's so long ago, I think it was in Seattle. Todd was in Seattle. His, I forget if it was his cousin or something, but he had a comic book store.
Okay.
And so we all went up. It seemed like the place to everybody meet up, because some of us were in LA, some of us in San Diego. And so we all went up there to Todd's house and spent the weekend with him and stuff.
That's awesome. And then after that, you started working for a lot of different Image books over the years.
Yeah, that was one of the, again, that was back then, you know. It was like, hey, you know, hey Todd, I'm going to launch my book. I need something. And it was that simple. It was that easy. I mean, a lot of people don't know also is that, you know, we have a lot to credit Wizard Magazine for, because they became our de facto voice. You know, people didn't know that we weekly called each other up. They needed content, we needed advertising. You know, and in between books, you know, I mean, the kids were more used to it back than the 30-day in between.
Yeah.
But by having Wizard
in the middle, so
in the middle,
they can get pumped up for the stuff that's coming out.
Right, and if we know we're going to have some roadblocks, hey, let's do a contest to visit the studio.
And then people are going to be super excited, and they can't wait for the next one, and you're going to have a chance to visit the studio.
Yeah, and we can now launch everything through there. Everybody will be ready when the product is ready. So there was a lot of interaction between everybody back then. Now again, because everything is worth so much potentially, you know, everybody, you know, and it's human nature wants to have most of that to themselves. But I grew up reading Stan and Jack's comics in the 60s, and Stan's soapbox of talking about the Merry Marvel bullpen that never existed.
Yeah.
But I imagine this big room with Jack and Big John and JR, everybody, you know, all the big guys drawing together and laughing and teasing each other. And come into the industry, and Carl tells me, sorry,
that's not really how it works.
You know, John Romita Sr.'s over there, but he's art directing the interns and stuff. And so my first chance to get into the studio situation, when Carl asked me to call up Jim, and then Scott was already with me, and then to hear that, you know, Rob was doing the same thing, and Todd was going to do the same thing, and Mark. And that was actually what led to then Homage. I don't know if you remember before Wildstorm, it was a partnership between Homage, Jim Scott and I, and Mark Silvestri.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so we were all in San Diego in this one big building, which was, again, so cool.
Yeah, to have that camaraderie and to have that whole everyone there. And
we had this open bullpen where we had just little walls, but just 3 feet, 4 feet, right? And so here I am drawing, and just 15 feet away is Mark Silvestri. And we all had BB guns and disc guns under our desk. So if I could catch him, not where, and then that would start
a whole war.
A whole war. And we worked 24 hours. So all the professional doctors and stuff, they were gone by like 5 or 7. And so I even have it on videotape. I have some videotape.
Oh, I'd love to find this.
Going through the whole building down into the garage with BB guns, disc guns, and then Wizard gave us these nicely carved looking old-fashioned guns, but they were rubber band guns.
Oh yeah,
but they were real, and you could stack like 20 rubber bands on them so they could hurt. But then we had ping pong tables, and then when we went to Wildstorm, everybody had their PlayStation or something, and so on the intercom, hey, Street Fighter. Everyone is over there and stuff. So it was a great environment. You had you could be bored or trying to wake up in the morning with your cup of coffee and walking around, and you see, oh, look at what the new guy's doing. Wow, that's kind of interesting. Those kind of lines. Let me try those. Travis, what you're thinking behind that? Young little Travis. Sure, we could just, and then we knew he was doing the same thing, looking and seeing what our techniques are. And so back then you see this huge, fast rise of people talent because we were all
together and developing together and learning from each other and picking up the little tips and tricks to make different styles work.
Yeah, yeah.
And